Yep, I'm live, and yes, the music is too high. Oppenheimer, of course, Oppenheimer. Now my weight might be too low. This seems like fine, and yes, we will just begin. Boot.dev. Today we have to create asteroids, or so it says. Asteroids. Enter guided project. Only 3 chapters in this project. Ah, this looks crazy. How are we going to bring about the animation and stuff? This actually looks crazy. I don't know how we'll do this. Build an asteroids game. We are looking to build a simple video game based on the classic asteroids. If you have never played before, you can take a look at this significantly different from ours version of the game. Prerequisites: 3.10 plus installed Python. See the book bot project for help if you don't already have it. Access a Unix, access to a Unix like shell. Yep, I have both of them. Shell. What is shell? Shell is used to pass commands from the terminal. Terminal is just something that is a set. Terminal is a set in which has a keyboard and a screen, and whatever you type on the screen will be shown on the keyboard. What the fuck? Whatever you type on the keyboard will be shown on the screen, and a shell is something that passes commands on to the kernel and prints the results on the screen. Learning goals. The learning goals of this project are introduce you to multi-file Python projects, show you a real-world use case for object-oriented programming, and to have a ton of fun building a rewarding project. The goal is not to teach some game development or the math required for physics simulations. As a result, there are some places where you will simply copy paste code that we wrote for you. Don't worry about trying to understand every detail. If it is not interesting to you, you will be asked to write the first part that matters most. Assignment: to get started, make sure you have the boot.dev CLI installed. Yes, I have, and working. Run and submit these. Okay, server was running. CD projects. Nope. CD courses. CD boot.dev. Let's paste, and that is working. Now just submit. That works. On to the next one. Installation. We are going to use Pygame and virtual environment to develop our game. Pygame is a module for developing games using Python. It provides simple functions and methods for us to easily draw images within a GUI window and handle user input. Okay, to easily draw images within a GUI window and handle user input. Virtual environment. VN. Virtual environment are Python's way to keep dependencies, example Pygame modules, separate from other projects on our machine. For example, we need Pygame version 2 for this project, but another project on your computer might require version 1. As a best practice, each Python project on your machine should have its own virtual environment to keep them isolated from each other. Okay, environment is something where your code runs, and if it asks for environment variables or things or files in the standard path, that is where it looks for them. I guess that much is enough. Create a new directory and Git repository for this project somewhere on your computer. Create a virtual environment at the top level of your project directory. Okay. Python and VN. Activate the virtual environment. Source bin activate VN. Okay, you should see VN at the beginning of your terminal prompt. For example, mine is this. Uh, Let's see how that works. First, create a new directory and GitHub repository. Git a repository for this project somewhere on your computer. First, let me create a Git repository. Asteroids, and here source v and bin activate. Source v n v n bin, it does not exist. venv, right? Python 3 venv. Source venv slash bin. Wait, there is env. Okay. Source venv slash bin slash activate. Okay, and I should see v and v before my prompt. I do not see v and v before my prompt. Maybe because of the way that my terminal is configured. Maybe, I don't know. Make sure that your virtual environment is activated when running the game, or use the Boot.dev CLI. See that, and create a file called requirements.txt in the top level of your project directory with the following content: Pygame version 2.6.1. If I submit, no module named Pygame. Okay. Requirements.txt and requirements.txt and paste this thing, and then install the requirements. Pip install our requirements.txt. Install our requirements.txt, and okay, it does work. That is good. Make sure Pygame is installed. Python 3 mpy. Pip install upgrade pip. Upgrade pip. Okay. And Python 3 mpygame. Python 3 mpygame. That is, I guess, doing something. Note, this will return in an error. The text expects an exit code of 1, but the output will show the Pygame is installed. Read and submit this. Run and submit the CLI test. Yo. And package. Okay, I guess that is correct, and how it should be. Yep, that is correct. Now moving on. Pygame. Now that we have Pygame installed, Pygame is a library written in Python, and okay, that much makes sense, I guess. Let's write just a bit of boilerplate code so that we have a runnable program to build on. Create a new file, main.py, and on the first line import Pygame like this. This allows us to use code from open source Pygame library throughout this file. Write a main function that simply prints starting asteroid. Use this exact text. Add this if the statement. Write a main function that simply prints the starting asteroid. Okay, use this exact text. Import Pygame. Okay. Main.py import Pygame print. Pygame is not accessed, doesn't matter, I will do it later. Yep, if name equal main then main is not defined. Right, main function. Okay, my bad. That should do it, and run the program with this and also test it. Python 3 and run main.py. That works, and the test hello from py asteroids, and that works. It is correct. Now on to the next, modules. It would be a massive pain if we had to fit all our code into a single file. Importing in Python, each .py file is a module, and we can import functions, variables, and classes. Functions, variables, and classes from one module into another with the import statement. The name of a module is the file name without the .py extension. Okay, I can go into detail and understand why all of this is working this way, like what exactly are modules and how they work in low level. But that takes a lot of mental energy, and but that is not the main problem. The main problem is that right now I actually do not want to do that. So import database from connection database versions, import connection databases, and we can have the logic for accessing and managing databases in some other file, and in our main file we can just call the function without defining them. If you want to import everything from a module, you can use star character like this. Okay, however, it is generally recommended to avoid wildcard imports as they make your code harder to read and debug. You can read more about this in Python style guide. Constants. Game often have a lot of magic numbers to represent things like player speeds, item costs, and attack damage. We will use this file as a space to store those kinds of constants. Games often have a lot of magic numbers which represent other things. You'll use this file as a space to store those kinds of constants. Okay, create a new file in your project called constants.py in the same file as main.py and paste in this. Paste all of this stuff. Import everything from constant.py into main.py. Print out screen width and screen height values when main.py is running. Use the following format. Okay, and constants t-a-n-t-s constants.py, paste this stuff, go to main.py and import everything from constants. Yup. That is wrong, it seems. Unpack operation is not allowed in this context. Why? From this import that. Okay, from constants import everything. Yep, and then print in this format. Screen width is this and height is this. Okay, print in formatted screen width and height. Width and height are small. Space screen width and print, not printf, print screen height percent screen height, and that should be it. Python 3 main.py, and that seems like correct. Let me test it. And no such file. constants constants, and con contents. Yeah. Move contents to cons tants dot py main dot py constants, and yeah, run the test again. It should work this time, and it does, I guess. um Boot.dev submit, see, and yep, that does work. Game loop. Video games are generally built using a game loop. The simplest game loop has three steps. Check for player input, and wait a minute. Yep, screen and everything is fine. Check for player input, update the game world, draw the game to the screen. Check for user input, and according to that input, make changes to the game world. Yes, update the game world, and then make the new updated game world appear on the screen. To create a good user experience, these three steps need to happen many times a second, and that is called FPS. Assignment: import pygame at the top of your main file, main.py file. The pygame documentation will be super useful throughout this project. Okay, initialize pygame at the beginning of your main function. Take a look at the docs for the syntax. Okay, ensure your our predefined constants, constant.py, screen width, and screen height are imported at the top of your file by this. Okay, pygame documentation. Shit. It is on the pygame website, of course. Where else? Yep. In the top level domain package. Pygame.initialize, import all pygame modules, pygame.quit. The pygame package represents the top level package for others to use. Pygame itself is broken into many sub-modules, but this does not affect programs that use Pygame as a convenience. Most of the top level variables in Pygame have been placed inside a module, pygames.local. Okay, initialize pygame.init and initialize all imported pygame modules. Initialize all imported pygame modules. No exceptions will be raised if a module fails, but the total number, if successful and failed, inits will be returned as a tuple. You can analyze individual and you can always initialize individual modules manually by pygame but pygame init is a convenient way to get everything started. The init function for individual modules will raise exceptions when they fail. You may want to initialize the different modules separately to speed up your program, or to not use modules your game does not require. It is always safe to call pygame.init. Let's see, pygame.init, yes, and yep, initialize returns true if pygame is currently initialized. Wait, how do I even start? Right, get in it. It returns true if something is start pygame.error dot get error dot set error dot sdl version dot sdl byte order register quick encoding is string encode file path pygame dot version. The fuck? How do I do something, anything with this? Pygame dot version less than this. Vernum, not version. Vernum. Double integers of the version. This version information can easily be compared with other. Ah, Pygame 4000 book update, download Pygame book plus example code here. Py. Okay, this is the official documentation. What is their main page? Their main page contains this. Then I'll go to documentation and I will have this. Okay. How do I start doing anything? Color display. Oh shit, here is code before. There was no code before. Okay. Import pygame, pygame init. Okay. Screen equals pygame.display.set module height and width, I suppose. And clock equals pygame.time. Running is true while running. That is while true. Poll for events. Okay. Pygame.quit event means the user clicked X to close your window. For event in pygames.event.get, I guess this tells us what is happening on the screen if the user is doing something. If event.type equals pygame.quit, return running, make running equal to false. Fill the screen with a color to wipe away anything from the last frame. Screen fill purple. Render your game here. Flip the display to put your work on a screen. Pygame.display flip. Okay. Clock.tick limits 50 fps and at the end quit. Okay. I don't know what the heck this is doing, but let's see. I have to do a screen which I am accessing when I'm Pygame display. I'm just taking this in. Okay, clock running equals Pygame dot create a screen or Pygame dot display dot init. And what does that take in? That takes in, it returns nothing. Dot set mode. Or dot set mode. This thing takes in some stuff. It takes in a tuple of numbers. Coordinates. Okay, yeah. Which are by default 0, 0. 720, 180, like 1080, and then clock equals pygame dot clock dot time dot clock. And 0 clock is not accessed. Pygame dot time dot c is capital, or I can simply copy paste this thing from here. $24. Ah shit. C. Yep. And let's see what that does. Python 3 pygame main dot py, and that opens a screen. Okay, that opens a screen. I cannot resize the screen, but I have opened a screen in Python, which is something I've never done. I have opened a screen, and my screen is stuck. Shit, that is horrible. And you guys, I suppose, cannot even hear the OpenIV music. Now you guys can. Let me reduce it for you. Fit to screen, yep. And here is a Python screen that just came on Python. Fucking hell. Main.py. If I change the resolution, wait, this is not the values that I gave. Okay, 1080 and 720. Python main.py, and I should see a screen. I do see a screen. This is cool. What is the resolution for 4K? Guess it is 4 times this number. Oh, 4. What is 8? 4 is a 4320, and this becomes 80, the first part, and this becomes 28. I don't know. Python main.py, and what do I see? I see a very big screen which is going out of the screen. Shit, it is going totally out of the screen. Yep, totally out of the screen. Main.py, and move it back to as it was. Originally as it was. And with that, what do I have to do? I input OV is there, and put this there. What do they want me to do? Import everything from constants, because this is a smaller project. We don't risk conflicting import names, and we are going to use a wildcard import for convenience. In a larger project, you'd want to import only the constants you need. Use a pygame display.set mode. Initialize the beginning of your main. Take a look at the docs for syntax. Initialize pygame. Yes, I have initialized pygame. Pygame in it. Yep. And then ensure your yes, I have done that. Done this. I have done this. And use pygame's display.set mode to get a new GUI window. Okay. Screen equals pygame.display.screen width and screen height. Yep. The ones that were given to me. Screen width and yep. Screen height will come after screen width. Python 3 main.py, and do I see something? Yes, I do see something. Then create the game loop. For now, we will only worry about step 3, drawing the game onto the screen. Okay. We have done that much. We will only do the canon stuff. At the end, I quit pygame. Yep. Screen, and then create the game loop. Okay, for now we will only worry on step 3. Use the infinite while loop for the game loop. At each iteration, it should use the screen's fill method to fill the screen with a solid color. Yes, what is the fill method? Fill does not exist, because this is only about init. Yep. Fill exists at only 4 positions, and these are the only 4 positions that it exists. Screen.fill, and then color inside. Screen.fill, and inside it will take color. After that, fill method. It's a good idea to run and test your program game frequently as you write code to make sure it is working as you expect. If you're on a Mac, run this. You should see a black window open and stay open while true. Do this right, and at the end do this. Doesn't matter. Python 3 and black screen. I expect to see black screen. But it is not here. Why? I don't see anything. It is gone now. Python 3 main.py and here. Okay, I guess it is coming up. Nope, it is not. Es ist nicht hier. Nope. We dot set mode. Not server and main dot py screen dot set mode. Yes, that is what I did. Exactly what I did. And then screen fill screen dot fill black. And by while loop, use the fill method. Fill method to fill the screen with solid black color and use PyGame's flip method to refresh the screen. Be sure to call this last. Okay, screen dot flip cannot access flip display pygame dot display dot flip. Is that correct? Python 3 main dot py. Let's see. Do I see something? I do not see anything. With the documentation, fill screen, pygame dot flip screen dot flip. Before that, fill. I haven't done this or this. Maybe that is the problem. Restarting cloud.tick main.py keyboard interrupt. Yes, I did keyboard interrupt. Dot use py game dot time dot clock and clock bracket 60 clock dot tick. I see. Okay. Clock dot tick at 60 screen fill purple right pygame dot display dot flip. And even in pygame screen dot fill purple. That should work. Maybe it was the reason it was not working. Python 3 main.py. Let's see. Do I see anything? Nope. Nope. Nothing at all. Events. Get event. Okay, that is something that I do not have to do right now. And that is also something that I can skip. I am doing pygame init. Main.py. I am doing pygame.init. And then, yes, screen is also something that I'm doing, and then screen.fill purple is also done. Pygame.display.flip and also clock. Display.flip, screen.fill and clock.tick. Everything is being done. And clock pygame.time.click. Screen width and screen height. What is it that I am missing? If I copy this whole thing and paste it instead of what I have written, and let's see. And well, this is bound to work, but for instance, screen width and then screen height. Python 3 yes, I do. Yeah, main dot. I want to change it to black, but what is the thing that is making it work now and wasn't making it work before? Yes, I see a black screen. Main dot type coordinate screen clock. Yep, screen clock. I can remove this. I can remove this. I can make this true, and yes, of course, remove these things. Remove all of that. Click. Yep. Now we are back to how we were. And does it work? It does not work. At which point does it break? Not because of the comments, of course, and not because of running or not running. Python 3.main, and oh, it is not there. Yep. What else did I remove? Event. Okay, but I'm not into event. Is that why it is not working properly? Well, apparently that is the reason that it is not working. May not py. So even if I were to remove all of this and this and make this true. Wait, if that happens, then just break. It says main.py, and do I see a screen? Yes, a screen. I do see a screen. It says Python. Close it. And main.py. Here I am listening for events in event. If event.type is something, then do this. Pygame.get event. Print this thing, whatever it is. Print the events. I do ESP and things. But if I were to click on something, yes, I'd see something. Yes, you can just turn my mouse over it. I see something. I say, this is this. Okay. And since I was not listening to any events, was that the reason that this was not ready for rendering or whatever is the word that you would use for something like this? So if I just remove this single line, Python main.py, I should not see a screen. Yes, and I do not see a screen. I can contribute to their project. Okay. And then if you're on a Mac, wait until 8 is step 8 before doing this. Okay. Okay. Close the game and kill the program with Command C. Add the following code to the beginning of each iteration of the loop game. Right. This will check if the user has closed the window and exit the program loop. They do, it will make window close. Create.get ignore file. No, don't add this thing here. Main.py and here add this. Okay, I'll make all of these formally aligned. This also needs to be aligned. Return and return while true. What the heck? Wait, yes, I messed up only a little bit. while true, keep doing this thing. Move this further a bit, return. Yep, that should work. Python main.py, and I did see something, but it went away. Py.event.get main.py. For event in pygame, pygame.event.get, if event.type equals quit, then quit, else you do whatever you do. Python, see, it is going away. Video system is not initialized. What is that mean? Any.py. I did py minute, then clock, and then this. I don't even need clock, I guess. I only have to do this while true. Keep doing all of that. Yes, this after Python main.py, and now to work. And click here to end. Yes, it does end. Create a new file which will contain this. These files can be regenerated, so they don't need to be tracked. N dot get ignore, paste this thing and save and go away. I'm done with this step. Okay, make a git commit. It is a good idea to your progress. Okay, git add everything in here. Git init. Git add everything in here. Git commit message. Window opens now. And show solution files, which means this. Yep, that is what it contains, and that is on to the next. FPS. Right now our game is in redrawing the screen as fast as it possibly can. This causes it to use a lot more CPU than it actually needs. Delta time. In math, the Greek letter delta is often used to represent a change in a value. In game development, we use delta time to represent the amount of time that has passed since the last frame was drawn. This value is useful to decouple the game's speed from the speed it is being drawn to the screen. If your computer speeds up, the asteroid shouldn't also speed up. Conversely, if your computer slows down, the asteroid should not also slow down. They would just move less smoothly. FPS stands for frames per second. We are going to restrict our game to draw a maximum of 60 FPS per second, or 60 frames per second, or 60 FPS after initializing Pygame. But before the game loop starts, create a new game clock and DT variable at 0. Okay, I just created a clock before I had created a clock before Pygame dot time. Clock is used. Then at the end of each iteration of the game, call the tick method and pass it 60. It will pause the game loop until 60th second of second 1/16th of the second has passed. Tick method also returns the amount of time that has passed since the last time it was called. The delta time. Divide the return value by 1000 to convert. Okay, what divide? Okay, it returns the answer in milliseconds. So if I divide it by 1000, I should get a second. And save it into the DT variable we created earlier. We are not going to use DT yet, but we will later. Okay. DT equals at the start 0, and then DT equals log dot take 60, that by 1000. DT is not accessed, doesn't matter. Print D, let's see, and start to see some numbers, and I do not see any numbers. Yes, I did see some numbers. Python main.py, and now numbers, yes, numbers. Numbers are mostly this, right? And then main.py. Done. Rerun the game. You should still see the same black screen, but this time it should use less of your computer's resources. Okay. If everything is still working as you expect, you move on to the next step. Yep, I am. Yes, about it. Note, though, throughout this project, we will provide some of the code for you, like the class. We want you to focus on specific parts and pre-written the stuff that isn't related to the concepts we are trying to teach. In Python, there is a base class called spirits. In Pygame itself, there is a base class called spirits assignment. In our game as asteroids, we are visually representing our asteroids are visually represented as circles and the player is a triangle. However, detecting collisions between circles and triangles is hard. To avoid this problem, we will cheat a little bit. The player will secretly be a circle. The red circle won't be visible in the game, only we need to know it exists. Let's create a circle shape class that inherits from spirit to represent objects in our game that are treated as circles, even if they are not. Create a new circle shape.py file and pass in the following code. Circle shape.py file. Okay. Okay. Circle shape extends spirit class to above store a position of velocity and radius. And circle shape.py shape.py and paste the whole code. Copy it. Circle shape extends the spirit class to also store a position. And wait a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, it is here. Yep, me back, and yes, we'll just continue. And yes, this extends the spirit class to also store a position, velocity, and radius. This is a class which extends my game spirit, sprite, 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 sprite. Yes, it is a sprite, not a spirit. Define init. It takes in self, x, y, and radius. We will also use this later. If has attribute self containers. Okay, some code self dot position, self dot velocity are equal to whatever is provided. Wait a minute. क्या
5,000 रुपए मेरे अकाउंट में डाल।
Mm-hmm. That does work, I guess. Can submit and move forward. Okay, specify add this line to constant player radius. Okay. One side. Mm-hmm. That is much better. Yep. I have to go to constants file. So I will just append echo player radius equals 20. Append that to tnts constants.py and let's see constants.py. Yes, that's fine. Create a file called player.py with a player class inheriting from. Okay, def init self xy radius and radius is also I should also import from constants import everything and instead of radius this will take in player radius, right, and this will not take in radius like this. After this create a field called rotation initialize to 0 rotate equals 0 to begin and paste this triangle and method into your player class. Paste this triangle and triangle method your player class. Okay, copy and paste and give the correct addition. Pygame, okay, import pygame also. Import pygame. Self position forward operator plus is not supported for vector 2. Why? I have imported these things and this is not being given to me. Paste this triangle method into your player class. Yes. Return ABC forward vector. Operator plus and minus are not supported for these specific time. A player will look like triangle even though we will use circle to represent this hitbox. The math of drawing a triangle can be a bit fiddly, so we have written the method for you. This is not talking about any errors. There are errors in here. Plus question invalid. Fucking hell. Reduce the volume a bit. And it has not even been 1 hour. Okay, I will have to stream for at least 1 hour. And I'm finishing this. Maybe I will finish off stream. Uh, a player will look like a triangle even though we will use a circle to represent this hitbox. Okay, to draw the player override. But I'm not getting ahead of this step. This step is giving me error. I done things before this. Create a new file, players.py. Yep, with the player class. Yes, player class inherit from circle shape. Yep, the player constructor should take in x and y integers as input. it does take in x and y integers as input, and then call the parent class's constructor, also passing in player's radius. Yes, I'm calling the parent's constructor, also passing in x, y, and the radius thing, whatever it is. Wait, are there more things to be passed to that? Self-dot containers is error, cannot access containers. Cannot access, shit, capital R. Shit, how do I go back? And settle shape.py. And yes, containers is not there. Okay, cannot access attribute container. Yes, that makes sense. Why would there be any containers? There could be containers if is a sprite. Inside the sprite class, there could be containers. And supernet itself. Yes, I am here testing if it contains container, and only then calling it with container. Otherwise, I'm not calling it with containers. And in play.py, this is there. Okay, I guess I will be ending stream here, and this much is it for today. And possibly I will complete this thing alone, and tomorrow stream whatever is after this. After I is it? I guess. Well,